it's just a lot of times, and I know this from having done PR for the Sixers and for the Hornets, like there are a lot of times when guys have to do stuff. Like, for instance, and it's crazy too, because once you get a player there, like I could say back when I was working for the Hornets, like we would have a read to achieve day, where like guys have to go to a certain school and read to the kids because you're trying to promote reading, right, for little kids. So with some guys, it was like pulling teeth, dude. Some guys did not want to go. Once they got there and actually connected with people, they're just people are. It's just that's a people thing, right? It's just like you don't want to leave your house to go hang out with your friends because you just have to get up and leave your house, especially when you're my age. All you're trying to do is get home. But with these guys, you got practice, you got games, you got workouts. You do enjoy your time alone, especially when you're home, because it's rare that you're off the road during the season. So there were some community stuff that these NBA players had to do. And I'd say 40% of them did not want to do it or were kind of, would push back about doing them. The moment they showed up, I can't remember a guy showing up to an event or at a hospital to do something for a kid where he didn't immediately connect. And like, that just shows like humans, right? We're about connection. So Dak is doing, and by all accounts, like knowing people around the Cowboys and stuff, Dak is a great guy. So like Dak going to this cancer fund gala yesterday afternoon is like, he's probably like going there with a smile and ready to do the right thing. And he's just an evolved dude, right? He's not necessarily your average athlete. He's not your average person. Like, again, Dak Prescott, great guy by all counts. So he's talking about, there's an 8-minute interview that's up on cowboys.com. And for the first 5 minutes, he's talking about the event being there. I think Troy Aikman was there too. I think, I know he was talking about Aikman, maybe Aikman's involvement. And then of course at the end, which is like what a good media member does or journalist, you ask him a question about, hey, I mean, really, you're let's talk football, right? Like, come on, we got Dak Prescott here. He's available to the media. He's not very often. Are you guys? Or let's go to the tape. Scotty, roll that. The question he's asked is, where are you guys when you compare yourself to the Commanders and the Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl? Check it out.
I mean, I feel like we compete with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we played them. I don't want to say check the record when they're the guys holding the trophy right now. So credit to them. They've earned it and they deserved it by all means. But, yeah, very close, especially when you even watch the NFC game, the NFC Championship. And those two teams that we battle against each and every year a couple of times. And as I said, feel confident about we've gotten the better part each and every time. To see it in such a dominating fashion, credit to them. It's our turn and it's on us.
All right, he's got
okay. How's your health?
Good. Yeah, my health is for sure. My health is good. Doing a lot more. Getting there. I think I'm 12 weeks or so out of surgery now. So I'm really looking to amp it up here recently. Got all my confidence and.
So I can't argue with anything he said there. First of all, the body of work. I know people don't want to hear this, but the fact of the matter is the dude is 9-4 against the Eagles. Now, again, it's what have you done for me lately? I totally understand that, but it's not like him saying we've played well against that. Like that's real, and Dak Prescott, I know he hasn't gotten it done in the postseason, and he didn't sit there and say that I've had a lot of postseason success or we have. He said, I feel like we're right there. And that's exactly what he should say. The Cowboys have holes to fill this offseason. There's no doubt about that. But, prior to this past season, they had won 12 games, 3 straight seasons. I know people don't want to hear that either, but that is a fact. These are numbers. The 9-4 against the Eagles, the 12 wins the past 3 straight seasons. It's hard for people to imagine this, but if you turn back the clock 14 months, 13 months even, before the Cowboys took the field in that divisional game against the Green Bay Packers, everyone thought they were going to the Super Bowl in Dallas. Fans felt the excitement and the enjoyment of a team that's about to go on the run and that has secured home field advantage. I mean, right? Like even prognosticators said, okay, this is a team that can do it. And now look, I mean, the guy is at an event for kids suffering from cancer. And he mentions, yeah, I think we can compete. And people are out taking a huge dump on him. Scotty Swingler, I got to get you, as a Cowboys fan, I want you to weigh in on this. And also, you're a very knowledgeable football guy. Am I like out of pocket here saying that like the criticism could, because one thing I haven't mentioned that I guess I should have is, and I did just touch on it, he's getting crushed for saying that they're what does he say? I think he says I got the quote right.
Yeah,
here.
he says they're not that far behind or something like that. Here, no, yeah, I completely disagree with you.
Okay.
For one thing, I am not alone amongst Cowboys fans when you're talking about thinking they were going to the Super Bowl last year. I have never thought Dak is getting us to the Super Bowl this entire way. I think the last time I was really optimistic about Super Bowl odds was the infamous year where Dez caught it. Yeah. And that was also a loss to the Packers, ironically enough.
Yeah.
I think the other reason this is triggering for fans, Pete.
Triggering is a great word, and you know you're talking to a tormented Cowboys fan when that term comes up.
This is triggering because
there's a lot to unpack here.
This is triggering because we have been incredibly frustrated with Jerry and then last week Stephen Jones for saying, oh, you know, this so-called drought we're in, ha, 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 and totally avoiding the fact that the Cowboys now have the longest streak in the NFC of not appearing in a championship game, right? Totally pushing that aside, going, oh, we're right there. I think it's not so much what Dak said as much as it sort of echoes what Jerry and Steven are saying, which just completely denies the truth that there has been no playoff success for this organization in 30 years. I think what fans would have enjoyed hearing, maybe alongside those statements of, hey, we've had our moments against the Eagles, we've got some really good players on this roster. And Dak, I think, has said this before. He just didn't do it in this case. I want him to say, and a first-round playoff exit is unacceptable for this franchise and for what this organization has been. And my goal and all of our goal in that building is to make an NFC championship game next season. But I think saying that out loud would have been fine instead of, it almost sounds like, well, we're actually not that far away. Like, why are you being so critical? Well, like we're right there.
Well, here's here, and I'll push back for Dak. And I think that he's sick of hearing all the negativity. I mean, because there is so much negativity out there, warranted or not.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is like, you could shut up the negativity if you had real success.
So do you feel like Dak Prescott, for all the credit we give him as being this top-notch guy?
I think he is a top-notch guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But do you feel like he's passing the buck and not being accountable there? And we're talking in a sports universe.
Dude, I'm not just gonna give him hell for what he said at like you said, a charity event. Like, I did not take this and get angry yesterday when I saw this come through, but I just think that's why it's triggering, is it reminds people of what Jerry and Steven have been doing, which is avoiding accountability, I think.
Yeah.
To say, oh, well, I like the players we have. Oh, well, we didn't sign Derrick Henry because we didn't blah, blah, blah. Like all of that BS Jerry's been giving us for a year through failure. It just sounds a little bit like that. And so people are like, you know.
Is the reaction to that, and that a lot of folks are having, fans in particular, but even prognosticators, like I saw Marcus Spears yesterday was just like, he did not want to hear it, you know?
Yeah.
Who's to know? Marcus Spears, am I right? Yeah, the guy on NFL.
Yeah.
He did not want to hear it. He had his head down when they were reading the quote.
Former Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, he was like, shame on Dak. But do you think that the Mavs, the whole like,
I think Dallas,
the stew is like,
Dallas area professional sports fans are on edge like we've never been before. You know, since the Schottenheimer hire and then the Luka, and now it's So I think, again, triggering is a good word, because to be triggered doesn't necessarily mean it's justified. It just means it pushed a raw spot, right? And you freak out. Like, I think that's what Dak did. It just sounds like another leader in the Cowboys organization not accepting the fact. And I said this weeks ago when we were talking Cowboys, and I kind of popped off on you. I don't give a crap how many 12-win seasons you put together if you're out in your first playoff game. Yeah. I would trade every 12-win season for one of those Eli Manning 9 and 10-win seasons when you go on a miracle run and win the Super Bowl. We'd all trade for that, right? So, I mean, and Dak, I think he's unfairly criticized to some extent, but I also think as soon as he wins a couple playoff games and gets to an NFC championship game, there's a lot more grace for those kind of comments.
Yeah.
And it is also like, despite what you just said about history and numbers and data, it is a little asinine to watch the Eagles not just win the Super Bowl, but crush the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl and go, oh, yeah, we're close to that. No, they're not.
Okay.
No, you're not.
No,
you're
that's
actually
very
really
fair.
not. Yeah.
That's very fair because they're not that close. I mean, again, I mentioned I watched the Cowboys a lot this year with a healthy Dak. They were nowhere near.
No.
But I'll push back again. You know, being an Eagles fan, they were freaking 2-2, and they didn't know if they were on foot or horseback for a minute. Like I can remember the Eagles salvaging a win on the road in New Orleans, and it was like, thank God they won. And then they lose on Monday night. Saquon, the ball goes through his hands early in the year. Everybody's like, oh, can Saquon not catch? What kind of call was that? Remember?
I do.
So that's how football, it's how quickly things change. Like and people wanted to fire Nick Sirianni. Like week 4.
Those people were idiots. Be clear, and I said that at the time.
They were, but that's how the court of public opinion responds to
but here's
the NFL.
But here's why I say that we're still not close, Pete, and to say we're close is bogus. It's not about how the Eagles started the season. It's not even about that they won the Super Bowl. Outside of wide receiver, and I think that's even up for debate, at what position are the Cowboys as good as the Eagles?
No, I mean,
none.
You would hope.
I might have said pass rusher before the Super Bowl. I might have said Micah Parsons, and I still think Micah Parsons is one of the best players in the NFL.
Yeah.
But the Eagles didn't blitz one time in that Super Bowl, and we're in Patrick.
The Eagles are so good
at what position are the Cowboys better than the Eagles? I would say you might have the best receiver. I think CeeDee Lamb might be better than A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. Outside of that, you are not better than the Eagles anywhere on the football field, talent-wise.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that's today. Now, over the course of the offseason, the Eagles they could get gutted. They have a couple guys coming up. That are probably going to be looking for big money that might find it elsewhere. But you are correct in saying that. I think you are. But I don't think they're as far as people think. I don't think they're as far. All right, so here's what they need. And this is according to Mike Tannenbaum this morning on ESPN. And I want to see if you agree with this.
Okay.
So Tannenbaum says they need 2 offensive linemen. They need a running back and 1 wide receiver. For sure, right?
The Cowboys.
Yeah. And they need to clear $10.3 million to reach the salary cap.
Yeah, I sure am glad we traded a draft pick for Jonathan Mingo. That was
so brilliant. Is that true? You guys are over the salary cap?
I would assume.
Yeah.
Dude.
You have the 12th pick of the draft.
Well, and that's why, though, there was this rumor Monday we talked with Mosley, and I think it's still not quite settled of like, do you trade Micah Parsons? And I'm just like, no, like we have 2 guys who are all world at their position in the NFL right now, and I don't want to trade either of them.
What if you trade Micah for draft picks, though?
No, I don't care. I don't care. You don't. I mean that's not nearly the Luka trade, but I'm just like, we have 2 guys on the Dallas Cowboys who are all world at their positions. I think we should probably keep them. And here's the other thing, Pete. Either keep them or let's ship them and then say to the media, this is a rebuild. But Dak and Jerry, I mean, Dak's not going to say this is a rebuild. This is a starting quarterback. I don't expect him to.
Yeah.
Jerry is too prideful to admit. If he shipped off Micah Parsons, if he somehow got CeeDee Lamb's contract out of there, you need to look into a camera and say, this is a rebuild. And I think, honestly, Pete, fans would go, thank God.
Yeah.
But if we're saying, no, we're close, we just need to, draft a couple linemen, draft a back, then no way in hell do I want Micah Parsons off the team. Anyway, my perspective.
I like your perspective. It's a good perspective. We're going to step away. We're going to come back with a crazy Luka conspiracy theory that just might make it make sense. It just might make it make sense because I need help figuring this out still. Okay. And you're going to see when we come back, I might be reaching. The Pete Souza Show, presented by Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers and Slovacics, comes back in a moment.